Where's that guy?
Word up.
Where's Martin?
Martin? What's happened to Martin?
It's
Andrew. Like, what's going on?
I don't know. I got connection lost.
There we go. No. There you go.
Anyway,
How
we're back.
was your week, boys?
Shall we start that again? Shall we just go wind it back and start again? How was your week? I'm in, mate. I'm happy today. I came in all happy, and then no one turned up.
Yeah, happiness does nothing on your looks, though. Unfortunately,
mate. I'll tell you in the green room. I have took 10 years off my life today.
Go on, give us a bit of context on that,
mate.
Because there are different ways to interpret that.
Yeah,
I mean, there's only one straight way. I'm literally 10 years younger now. That's what my GP said. My biological age is 37. And my lungs are 36. So you guys,
do you want to know your actual looking age? Because I can give you that if you want.
Mate, I guessed in the green room told us I was even younger. So I don't care what you guys say. I'm happy.
Do you feel 37?
Did you not see me backflip into the room earlier? Come on.
Fuck off, Wes.
Anyway, how is it? Look at the chat going off already. We are in.
Apparently it's your round, Martin.
Yeah, it's always Martin's round. It's tight, isn't he? He's always the one. Last man standing.
Welcome to the cooler, everyone. Another cooler, another Friday, another secret guest. What is the cooler, you might ask? Very good question. And we're going to push Ash under the bus this time.
The cooler is basically, it started off as me, Martin, and Wes just getting together on Friday virtually. We just put it in our calendar and called it water cooler. So at work, you get around the water cooler. And then we decided to go live and share our beautiful faces and voices with the world.
And you beautiful people.
Yeah, the guest are secret. The guest are secret until the very last second. We had Rory Sutherland, we had David Acker, we had Christo, we had Martin Neumeyer. We had some crazy people, and you never know who you get. Like you don't know who you're gonna get today. But as tradition, guys in the chat, let us know how is your week from 1 to 13, and let's start with Wes.
Good, unlucky 13. I'm good. I'm literally up in the 14s. Telling you.
Wes is at 37.
I am a 37. I am 37. Highs today. I had a good week, man. Nice little lecture this week. Had like 20 people taking photos of me. Felt like a little celeb. Delivering what I love. Like boom. I'm up today. I'm wearing food. I'm living life.
How about you, Ash?
Yeah, my week has been good, and I have my first day off yesterday, like since I don't know months. So yeah, that was nice. Yeah, it's been good. It's been good. Still working on this AI thing, and that's a little bit of a segue into what we're going to be talking about today. Shall I get into it?
Let's go.
Firstly, though,
I want some flags in the chat. Tell me where you're at. Come on, numbers, flags.
Yeah, I'm flagging that. We have 51, we have 13 plus, 8.3, we have 13 again, my lucky number from Mark, my man. Joseph also saying 13. In the meantime, we lost Ash, but it's okay. Looks like you guys are absolutely smashing it this week.
Must be a good week.
Good for you. Now, the question is it going to get better or worse after the cooler? Well, I'll leave that up to you.
Right, so let's get into it. So we're going to be talking about the shifts in branding with the age of AI, something close to my heart because I've been.
Oh, did you say AI?
AI.
Wow! Oh my God, that's an original topic.
AI. How does this all impact what we do as marketers and in branding? We're going to get into it. And today we have a guest who has spent decades in marketing and many C-suite positions. So he's seen the landscape, I guess. We'll ask him, obviously, change a fair bit. But I guess the real question is this change with AI any different to any changes we've seen in the past? He is the author, podcast host, and chief brand coherence architect at Groundswell's Origin. Please welcome to the water cooler, Mr. Scott Martin, everyone.
Get the air on. There he is, mate. Let's go.
Got my little surfer dude. Keep
Love
him
it.
warm. I was laughing because Martin, you're drinking a beer, and I'm like, it's like 9 a.m. I'm like, oh yeah, you guys are in the UK. It's the end of the day for you guys.
2 hours ahead as well, so easy.
Actually, I'm in Cyprus and it's 6:06 now, so I'm actually behind on my beers, so I'm gonna try to catch up.
Scott, you said it's cold, man. Get that Bailey's in your coffee.
I know it's super freezing. Yeah, I took a chance. Brought myself a Bailey's with my coffee today. It's Friday,
Ooh,
so
nice. Get it in.
Yeah,
that is a good start of a Friday, mate. That's the Fridays I like. That's breakfast I like.
Breakfast of champions with the boys. It's awesome.
Right.
Scott, we've got a good turnout here, so shall we get cracking?
Let's get cracking. Yeah.
So I've got 3 questions, and you can answer them in any order, and I'll repeat them depending on how long and in-depth your answer is. So just let me know if you need me to repeat them. So what do you do as a chief brand coherence officer or architect? What is the meaning of Groundwell's origin? Where did that come from? Because I think give us some context, because you've named your company, book, podcast after it. And then the final question is, are you pro AI or anti AI or somewhere in the middle?
Okay, great questions. Okay, so to start with, my role is to work directly with founders and navigating creating a new brand or rebrand. So it's a leader-led type process where I do branding like what you guys do, but I work directly with the founder. And the concept that I've really moved towards is looking at how, not just like how we brand, but all the way down to activation. See, brand strategy is a concept. Brand coherence is an experience. See, if something is coherent, it's like you have to experience it, like a knowing, right? They have to deliver. It's not just branding. No longer is just us putting a strategy in a binder. And then what I found was over the years was these binders would just never get used. And I'm like, what the heck's going on? So I recognized that there has to be a different way and process to make it transform into the culture, because now culture is really different. I think Peter Drucker said, there's 2 reasons for marketing or a business, right? Marketing, innovation. That was back in the day when it was top down. And now it's very different. Culture, I think it's 3 things. And we can see that on display where now we have the mechanics or the engineers of a company now doing TikToks. So we have to incorporate that all. So that brand coherence is really looking at the holistic piece, but really it's not what you say in the promise. The gap is, what do you actually deliver? And so coherence is more of a resonance, a feeling, than it is more than it's a gut feeling. Like I think Rory says, and to me, it's that gut intelligence that people are making decisions on. But now there's another coherence, machines. So we can talk about that a little bit later. But that's what I do is I kind of look at the gamut of from brand strategy down to delivery, working with founders.
Wow. I mean, there is a lot to untackle there. But I think one of the things that really resonated with me, and I know with Wes and Ash as well, why those binders that get stored into the storage, they never get open once the project is done. So what is the fundamental problem and the gap between strategizing, getting shit done, and actually, strategizing and actually getting shit done? Sorry.
Well, can I just take a step back about what's created that? Let's do a little history, right? Like it used to be a brand Bible. It was about rules. Don't break these rules. Back in Mad Men days, right? Everything was about consistency. But then when the internet came on, it became brand guidelines. There were guardrails, right? It's like you had to have some adaptability. See, back then it was one to many, but then the promise of the internet was 1 to 1. But now we're many to 1. Meaning the culture is now now delivering the brand. There's multiple platforms, multiple channels. There's so much complexity. So I believe it went from brand Bible to brand guide to now it's brand operating system, because we're living in a real world. So that's what I deliver as a brand operating system for brands, which is the ability to translate the brand in real time. And that's what's so beautiful about AI. I think it's going to lead to the next question, which is I was anti-AI, because you can read a lot of what I talk about, which is human first, soul, those souls being left with AI. Yeah. But I'm a bit of a dichotomy, because I'm also going, the power of AI can deliver if you actually create a operating system for then anybody could then go have flexibility to create it as long as it's coherent.
I love that. It's so refreshing. Like, I know we've chatted in the past, Scott, and that's obviously how we met and why you're here. But just this framing brand now as like the OS, like the business OS. I wrote a post about it just last week. You know, the same thing. I think that movement, and I do believe as a champion, that movement is it solidifies everything. That it is more than a binder. It is more than activated. It's the spine. It's the soul. It's the vessel that pumps, man. And it has to happen, right? It's dead otherwise, right? It's, you know, I'm for you on that for sure. Where does that then? So I know this story, but you can tell everyone. So where does that lead then into Groundswell, right?
Yeah, sure. So Groundswell, the origins of Groundswell is, I'll give a little bit of a, when I was 18, I didn't graduate university. I didn't even graduate high school. I saved up my money and moved to the North Shore. I was all into surfing. And so I moved to the North Shore with the dream of becoming a professional windsurfer. And then for the next decade, I just traveled around. I got into surfing. I just traveled around, and I just love the ocean. And I've always really loved biomimicry, like nature's. And I always looked at that as in my branding and marketing experience, going, what's a better example of growth than nature itself? And what I found was these patterns that emulate a groundswell as a movement. So for me, what I really found a shift for me was looking at brands that create this growth loop. I was like, want to study the pattern of these brands like Patagonia. Like, why are they growing? Because I'm a recovering growth hacker. And I'll be honest with you, like, growth hacking's got a little bad name, but it's still great. But for me, it was, what I found was the short-term chasing tactics wasn't working for my clients, and there's no long-term growth. So I started studying patterns of what would create sustainable growth marketing. And I called it groundswell. And the reason why I call it groundswell is two things. It's got double meaning. One, groundswell is from the bottom up, right? Which is now culture and people first. But it's also from a wave. You got to think of it like a storm, okay? So a storm, the groundswell is very different than waves. Right? Waves that you see at the ocean, usually they're called surface waves or just wind waves. A groundswell is much more seismic, and it's a storm that happens way out there. I call it the epicenter of your brand. This is where the ideas are. Like, imagine, a castaway, right? When he's in the ocean, it's like crazy, right? That's how ideas start. That's where brands start, this ideation. It's like all over the place. But soon as your ideas take direction, and the wind takes direction, that consistent, powerful direction far away creates this movement. And it starts actually creating these, like, from the air, it looks like corduroy soldiers marching towards the coast. As a surfer, this is what you dream for. So to me, the groundswell is this like echo, this resonance echo that you're creating out into the world. And for me, it's about the epic outcome. Working with brands that I notice the pattern are ones that are making impact on the world. The purpose is far greater. It's far beyond just making transactions. It's about transformation. So this is the pattern. I created the pattern called Build, Move, Grow, Transform. And it's really based on my mentor. If you guys know Don Peppers and Dr. Martha Rogers, they're the OGs of personalization, one-to-one marketing. He said there's 3 ways to grow a business: get, grow, keep. And I used that for decades. And what I found was, and you guys maybe can share, I'd love to talk about this with you if you feel it makes sense, is what I found is that when you go, everybody would come, you go, I want to get more clients. But the problem is nobody wanted to spend time on the branding and the strategy. So I actually said, you know what? It starts with build, just like waves. You need to build the energy and get the direction. And then instead of get customers, let's change the language. It's about give. In this new world we live in, it's about everything is a give. If you're not a freemium model, you're not giving, even, giving your energy. You guys are giving right now, right? Mm-hmm. Give is the new get, is what I call it, right? And the next is grow. Instead of growing at the top, it's more about grow the roots before the fruits, like reinvest in your clients. And then lastly is transform. When the wave transforms and breaks, I say that is the ultimate growth loop. And why? It's this. Think of the first time you guys went on an Uber back in the day. I guarantee you guys all could think back. You probably told everyone that would listen, correct? Because you're going, there's a cab and now there's Uber. It transformed what I believed that service could be. And I believe you can transform plumbing or you can transform people's lives. And in fact, Joe Pine has just published this book that I'm just read the manuscript on, The Transformation Economy. He's the guy that wrote Experience Economy and Authenticity. This is where we're going, is you guys are transformation agents. And so I believe that brands that go out to transform the world create the ultimate growth loop. End rant.
There's no brand, man.
Wow.
speech, bro.
I mean, there are probably about 31 separate water cooler episodes in what you just
100%.
gave us. So I'm a bit overstimulated, but I'll try to keep things.
Sorry, I should have stopped in between that, but I just wanted to get it all out. Yeah.
I loved it. I put the Amazon link of that book because I'm an avid book collector, which doesn't mean an avid book reader. Those are separate things. My gap is in between collecting books and reading books, and we'll talk about your book as well. But like, I'm fascinated by the level of clarity in the story of the origin. In the origin story of the name and the reasons and why, and like there is so much clarity and so many nuggets in there. But I'm interested. Was it an epiphany that got you to that name, or how long did it take, or how did you landed in that? Because if I'm looking at the name, it's hard to understand the depth of the explanation you just gave me. So I'm curious to understand how the hell did you land on that?
I actually, believe it or not, I was going to call my company something else. I sold my company SDMG, but I had it for 10 years. I had an agency of like 30 people and stuff, and I was going on my own. And I was looking through my drawers, and I came up with this name, Groundswell, like out of high school. And I'm like, and I looked at this name, I'm like, oh my God. And I literally, that's how it started. It didn't start. I know that this is going to sound embarrassing. It started because I had this deep thought about Groundswell, and then I built it. I came up with the name. I don't have that origin story. You know what I have? It's like a happy accident. I literally saw this name that I came up with, the company name. I'm going to call it that. And then that's how it came about. I know it's sort of like anticlimactic, but that's the truth.
No, it makes sense.
It's the truth. That's what matters.
Yeah.
So I've got a question, and it's from Rachel, but what I've got, Rachel's question will probably follow up on that. I'll put it on the screen. I've read a bit about what you talk about with regards to coherence. Can you talk to the audience about coherence? Because there's this consistency versus coherence debate.
That's a great argument. Yeah. So there is a difference between consistency isn't coherence. Okay. So consistency it's like that's back in the rules. We're talking about the Bible days and like the brand Bible and the brand guide days, right? Like you got to show up consistently. How do you show consistently when somebody is making pandas going down slides, making pizza commercials, and it's a Pizza Hut, and you're going, there's no way to kind of be consistent with that. But what you can do is go, is it coherent? So coherence is a new resonance. So like when you think of a brand, there's a feeling. It's this resonance that we have. Like I love the quote from Jay Kunzo, don't market more, matter more. We're moving into the age of meaning. I believe that we're leaving the attention economy. I'm sorry, Gary Vee, I'm part of your group, but I don't agree with you. We're going into the intention economy, which is we care about people's intentions. So to me, coherence is when you ask somebody, something like, think of humans, right? When something's not right, what do? Your red flags are going up, right? We no longer can judge based on what marketers say. Most marketers are fucking liars. Sorry if I swore on here. And, they over embellish, and that over embellishment has created exhaustion. We're in what I would call let's just call it a trust recession. Like don't trust anything. We don't trust our eyes anymore. Okay. So the only way we can do is we're building this new muscle called coherence. Tell me that 6 months ago, when you saw something amazing on the internet, you didn't say to yourself, is this AI? I didn't, but now I do with everything. That didn't exist before. So what you're looking for is coherence. And to me, when you promise something, the gap between the promise, what shows up, whether it's the engineers on TikTok or the CEO on LinkedIn, and the delivery, that all has to be coherent. So think of this. Brand guides or brand CMOs are no longer rule managers. They're no longer consistent. Hey, that's not consistent. You know what they are? They're fucking DJs. They're like curating the room. Like, when a DJ goes, the room's kind of not really working, you're reading the room. It's like read between the lines. AI can't do that. I think that's the new role. Is you're reading the situation and you're basically going, is that coherent? That weird thing you did with AI, was it coherent? It's going to be more important than was it consistent following the rules?
So let me just go back to what you were talking about with the AI side of things. And I do agree with you. So I'm kind of reading in between the lines here with regards to the question earlier on, are you pro or anti? I think you're in somewhere in between. And when done right, what is the right way? You were hesitant there as well.
Yeah.
What
I've got a weird response with this one. Okay, so I wrote in my book back when automation would come around, and I'm not anti-automation, but what I am is when you put automation, like, when you get an email that comes in and they just are browbeating you, and that's what people say you should do or whatever. Like, it's like, don't put automation in front of a human interaction. I believe the AI has a purpose. It's like behind the scenes. It could be processed. It could do production stuff. And sometimes it's about speed, but speed is no longer a flex. Everyone can create more content at more volume. So where's the flex? Human. I think that human attributes should be on the new elements of value for Baines, be going human effort, because it's about soulfulness. So I'm kind of more 3/4 on the human side. I'm team human, but I'm not abandoning AI, because I've actually used AI. I think what it really comes down to is, at the end of the day, if you're coherently transparent that you're using AI for everything, then that's great. You're coherent. Mm-hmm. And if you're saying that you're, like, say, an author, someone came to be on my podcast, I interviewed them and I realized they used AI for their book. They didn't even know their own content. It changed everything for me. I realized that what matters is transparency. It's what you coherently promise. And if you're coherent with that, if you're going to use all AI, I'm all for it. But I think that brands are going to create this new category. There's Gartner research that's, I know you guys have heard this, but Chris Voss, who I talked to from Gartner, there's a new category that I'm interested in following. I'm about remarkable brands. And this new category is called acoustic brands. And they're going to represent 25% of brands in a premium price. And you know what? Why? They're marketing the absence of AI. So that's where my heart goes. I'm for the soulful brands. I looked at all the surf brands I used to love, and private equity bought them and ruined them. I'm about bringing back soulfulness to brands. So it doesn't mean that I'm right and no one's wrong. I'm just going, that's the category I choose to work in. But I think that overall, my belief is, as long as you're transparent.
Yeah, and I think that transparency is important. But what if you look at, so I'm very interested in AI image and video production in communications as a tool, as an output. But and being honest with it, yeah, when, like, I wouldn't ever use a digital twin of me without saying that I was using a digital twin, and I probably wouldn't really use it. But when I'm telling stories and maybe using AI, where at some point it's going to get to the point where even you won't be able to tell whether it's AI or not. When does it matter? Like, as in, like, I'm thinking in my head, it's like, I think the story and the messaging is more important than the actual technical side of what you're doing and the tools you're using.
I think that's a really fair point. And you bring up a really a point that it's hard for me to argue, but I'm going to tell you a story that would maybe land where I'm sitting on it, which is, I came back from spending 5 weeks on the coast in Gulf Islands reading my book. And I came back, and my wife and I heard this weird sound in the wall. And we're like, what the heck? Did someone leave the tap on? And we're looking around, and I went in the basement, and it was flooding. And so I'm a VIP member of because I got 2 furnaces, 2 air conditioners, and I phoned them. And the lady goes, yeah, they're here to help you, whatever, really fast. And I said, listen, I need someone to come here right now. I need to know how to shut off my water, all this kind of stuff. Right? I go, oh, I'm really sorry you're feeling that way. Very empathetic and stuff. But the way it said was just something was off. I said, are you an AI or are you a person? Because I was like confused. And I said, I'm Mary. And that didn't lie to me. It didn't actually answer the question. And then I went, no, are you an AI? Answer the question. And they finally said, they didn't say I'm an AI. It said, I'm a smart agent, whatever. In that moment, I've been a client for this for 25 years. My heart sunk. Yeah. I needed, it's like they gave me the answer faster. I wanted a human to actually know it. I felt a disconnect between me and that company. That was a real visceral feeling. Do you know what I'm saying? So,
I love that. So here's on that note, if you get a human being on the other end of the phone, like, for example, if the AI turned around and said, no, I'm a human being, one, would it matter to you, or would you still have that feeling on that distrust? And then 2, what about when you get people just reading from a manual like a human being, quite robotic? The trust isn't there, but it's a human being, right? So is it now about whether it's AI or human, or whether the intention is there and whether it's fixed your problem and it's helped you?
It's about the intention economy. It's the intention. It's the authenticity. So think of a line at Disneyland, right? The time continuum, right? We want speed, right? We all want speed for most, but in some cases you don't. I'll give you the example. If I'm in line at Disneyland, I want that line to go as fast as possible. As soon as I'm inside Disneyland, I want it to go as long as possible. Do you know what I mean? Time matters. So like you got to, it's like a bit of a press and pull, like when do you actually use these things? And more importantly, it's when you're reading off a script, how do you feel served? Do you feel empathetic? Do you feel those things? I think that we are going to be we're going to be clamoring for human, this resonance, if you will.
Yeah, great. So yeah, and I'm completely aligned with that way of thinking as well. It's moving so fast, isn't it? And it's like, and again, going back to your argument about coherence, is like you've just got to keep up, otherwise, yeah.
Well, I'll give you a little thing about coherence. It also was born. Coherence was born from Guru Singh. Guru Singh is like a 3rd generation yogi, and I did a podcast with him. Someone recommended it to me. And that podcast we both did better than my podcast with Dave Navarro from the Chili Peppers. Like, Dave Navarro's got the fucking huge audience, right? Like, and I'm like, what's going on? And he phoned me because he got a lot of feedback too. It was really strange. We ended up doing 25 hours together of this long form. I call it the Mindful Marketer. It's a course that we run where we just do this long form. And he's about the laws of the universe, ancient wisdom, and he's just a knowledge man. And he was sort of bringing all these. He really leaned into this whole biomimicry too, right? And what he landed from me was he's going, Scott, there's this new intelligence that we all make decisions on. It's called your gut intelligence. It is more powerful driving decisions than emotion. And it said for me, the way he explained in the course, I went, you're right. I've been so focused on the branding emotion. Who's marketing the gut? And that's where I decided to break the model in my book, where I'm going, it used to be brand identity was just like the identity on the top. I've broken it up into 3 pieces. There's visual identity, verbal identity, and visceral identity. Visceral identity goes right to the gut.
So let's talk about the whole brand guidelines and guardrails and stuff like that. What are your thoughts on what's changing? And you can also pick in like the impact of AI in that.
Yeah, and to build on top of that, as a little chapter on your answer, what is the difference, if there is a difference, between consistency and coherence?
So consistency is it shows up like it's the same thing over and over again. Coherence is, think of like, have you guys seen the collabs with like Nike and Versace or whatever, right? It's them, but it's not really, obviously it's not consistent with what they're doing. I believe collaboration, like you guys, I really loved your story about you guys, right? Yeah. There's a coherence about you guys. That was what I was saying, is that you guys are unusual because you're 3 people working together, but when you work together, you're very coherent. Like that I was really impressed with that interview that you guys, I was like, oh my God, you guys like actually do work well and you have different points of view. That's coherence. Consistency would be only Ash, his point of view. So coherence allows room for someone in the culture to be able to deliver something like a TikTok and still be coherent than the CEO. But it has to connect. There has to be this thin line that we just go, I can feel it. I see it. It resonates.
You know what? That's a great answer, because that's one
so
that
good.
I disagree with, given that example about us 3.
Yeah, because I it's all me.
I fucking hate working with Ash, but I do it because I need money.
So therein lies, you got 3 variables. So here's, I'm going to give you another little thought here, right? You have 3 individuals. You guys are a module, not to make you down to a like, think of Lego. Yeah. The future of coherence is modular marketing, little bits that can work together and be reformed like Lego. That is where brand operating system works. So think of right now, I can create elements for my brand and then go make sure that they follow these guidelines, put in my brand guide, follow these colors, and then punch out a donkey going down the slide this time. And it'll be coherent, right? So that's where the AI can kind of like really, you can leverage that technology in a way that would be unaffordable.
It's interesting, and like I frame that consistency, but also dynamism under the format of being liquid, like, because humans are liquid, right? I'm the same guy. I will take my girlfriend to go into a shitty ass shack to have some great food, and then the same night, and that would be for lunch, and then the same night I could wear a tuxedo and go to a high class event, right? And I'm still the same person. My fundamentals haven't changed, and I think brands that are doing really well do understand that. And it's not necessarily painting your social media profile orange because it's Halloween, but it's being able to understand the fabric of culture and the fabric of humans, how we are multifaceted, right? So we are dynamic, and I think brands need to be able to do that, being consistent in their core, but then being more fluid into their activation to be able to resonate on different level, different layers with humans. And I think there is a lot of misunderstanding, and we go back to the question of Ash in terms of guidelines, as well as this tool that is strict, that you have to do XYZ because 1, 2, 3, but it's not really about that. So I really want to get your thinking about how do you get to a point where you develop this guiding framework, but then also allow space for experimentation and to become coherent on different layers.
Think of a DJ again.
Yeah.
Right? A DJ, the old DJs would just play the hits. That's consistency, right? But think of what do we want from brands? We all love brands that usually have a hint of bravery and delight. Think of a DJ. He reads the room. He then drops a bass drop or does something unexpected or does a remix that you recognize, but he plays it in a different way. I believe that this all can be solved by just thinking like a DJ. It's like you have these elements that you pull that are familiar, the familiarity to it, but there's like you read the situation in the room. It's more dynamic, like you said. I love the word flow or fluid because I think that is more what we want for brands, because if you're overly consistent, where's the delight in that? Where's the surprise? Like, when people who did funnels, okay, I'll give you a really good example. So, in funnels, and you're like, oh, this is where they're going to do the offer. Oh, here's where I'm going to get the timer, right? Like, they don't work anymore. Why? We can anticipate. It's too consistent. It's too obvious, right? We need to be, I think as branders and as brands, we need to really, if we want to compete in the marketplace, we need to be able to market to the machines, but we also need to still market to people in a different way. Because now consistency is no longer a flex. I could pump out stuff with AI and make it super consistent. That's the flex, is the human imperfection, the reading the situation in the room.
Just winding back to your DJ theory, it's really interesting. And I've, like, the guy I'm going to talk about now, I've known for decades, right? He was part of my New York culture. A guy called DJ Select, Scott Quinn. And he was kind of like part of that movement that birthed the open format DJ. I don't know if anyone's familiar with that term, but open format is basically where you keep a beat, but your genre can change anywhere. And your consistency, what you're saying, is the beat, right? But your fluidity and this thing you're talking about is the genre change. And as long as that beat's flowing, that's then going to pull the same rhythm, the same energy, but you can take that anywhere you want. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to just go on that. Why is that so good? Because if he makes a mistake in the moment, we all feel it, right? Like we're kind of, there's sort of like a tension. Yeah. A tension is created from tension. Okay. So think of live, like if we do make a mistake here, it's like people are watching, well, what can happen, right? Like there's a certain aspect to it. When I was trained under Tony Robbins, and for 5 years, I was part of a partner group. And one of my favorite things was when he in real time showed his mastery. Meaning he didn't go on a script and play a thing or whatever, follow like a template. He would freeform it like a DJ. And you would see his mastery in real time. I think we're craving this mastery. I think that when people show up and they show, it's no longer what you share, it's demonstration. So brands that are showing up on TikTok going, let me solve the problem. Or you guys, it'd be great. Like if you guys brought up a client that was trying to solve a problem and you guys show your mastery as a coherence. Yeah. Like for me, you guys said it. I would love to see. I think you guys would crush it if you had someone there. Everyone would see your mastery. That is what we're talking about. It's like real time mastery. There's a liveness to it.
Sweet, man.
How do we prevent things from going too far? And I can't think of an example, but say for a lot of things are subjective. So if you get a new intern and there isn't that much of a guideline as such, and everything's left to interpretation, then an intern might put something out, while someone else would, like the founder, would put something else out in terms of their communication. How do we stop that from happening? Because then your communications become kind of a little bit scattered and diluted, I guess.
Great question. So I think that you can go back to values and brand mantra. What is the feeling you want people to have at every interaction? So if we're talking to a brand about implementing, how do you get the receptionist to have the same level of connection to the brand guide than the person that's actually in sales? It's brand mantra, because that's a guideline that anyone could follow. Going, look, if it don't, that's part of coherence. It's the precursor to letting them know if it doesn't feel this way, the feeling for visceral, then it's not on brand. I feel like that is the way to go there. It's going to be imperfect, of course, and you just got to correct it. But at the end of the day, I think that explaining people what's the feeling you want people to have at interaction is the answer.
I love that. And it comes back to the foundations of brand, right? So what we do in a room, like how do we align our people? Because some of that is fluid, but the foundational stuff is they're litmus tests, aren't they?
But look what Leslie's saying in the chat. She's amplifying exactly that, like using similar words. You know what I mean? It's boom. Shout out to Leslie, by the way. And Leslie, I'm rocking through. Are you proud of me?
Leslie and Rachel, two returning guests. It's good. It's good to see you here. Amazing. So Scott, let's go into good AI and bad AI then, right? You already told us that you change your mind. So where do you see this AI going? Because I see a lot of creative people also threatened by this, right? So there are two fundamental groups of people currently in AI. People that fucking hate it and then say this is not original, it's gonna kill my job, and I don't want it, I don't want to get there. And people that are onboarding it. Maybe there is a third group as well, people that are just going on it without understanding nothing about it and making a mess.
The third one is abusers, right? Isn't it that one?
Yeah, abusers. So haters, onboarders, and abusers. Help us understand, based on your experience, where you're at and what is your assumption where it's going and what's going to happen.
The premise of your question implies that there's a right or wrong way. And I feel like that's not my place to make that judgment. Like I don't know that. But what I do feel is coherence is the answer, because if it's coherent for you and that's how you're going to show up in the world, then that's great. I'm not going to make the moral judgment of it's going to go into terror, this terrorizing, future or whatnot. It's a tool. But I think of this, like in terms of it is like we lived in a world where he who shouted the loudest succeeded, right? In marketing, more likes, more follows, more advertising, more blah, 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 right? It's no longer that. It's who's the clearest coherence. That's also how machines pick up. So I think that's going to naturally evolve people's use of it, because they're not going to be able to show up and just fake it and use differentiation in marketing and creative to just win when they're not delivering value. So I think that's actually, AI is actually, I kind of turned the corner because I went, wait a minute, AI is going to show the people, finally, all the people who are like really good, but they're not good at marketing, they're going to actually have like a voice in the room. Second thing, category. I think this is going to be the rise of new categories, because the only way to rise above the noise is to be known for a niche category that you do. And I think that's going to create these really salient, really exciting little ways that people, work with, where one person's going, I'm all in AI, and another person's going to go, I'm all human. That's just a different niche. So I feel like it creates a different playing field, where I don't really see it as like it's bad or good. I just think that's a moral judgment, and I think it's the same in real business. It's no different than anything else. Use ethics. It's about an ethos. And so your brand has an ethos. What is your ethos around AI?
I use this example with someone that kind of challenged me on AI. It was a number of different things. It's such a big topic, but one of them is, but it's fake, and it, and I agree, and I'm fine when it's kind of fake and authentic. Then I agree, but films are fake, books are fake, adverts are fake, and I hope people would know that adverts are fake as well. But we do feel something. So, I think going back to what you were saying, if they're used right in the right way, and even if people know they're fake or not, if they make you feel something, and again, to what you're talking about, and they're coherent to what your brand is about, then it doesn't really matter. Am I right in thinking that?
Yeah, I think you go back to we're leaving the attention economy and we're going to the intention economy. I think that people really care about the source intention behind things.
Yeah.
And it's like there's fake, real fake. Like if you read Joe Pine's authenticity book, like nothing about Disneyland is real, but yet we feel something when we're there. So I think that it's just acknowledgement of where you're at, the coherence of what your brand or what you're trying to create.
Yeah.
And that's why it's like I keep going back to coherence. I've thought of this concept of coherence has been brewing with me for years, and I haven't been able to kill it. I'm like, this is it, because it's the truth. It's a truth that we sense, and only your coherence different than Wes, right? We have a different things that are coherent with us. That's what's so beautiful. It's not that it's black or white. This is right or wrong. It's that what's right for me is very different than what's right for you. And you might go, I'm all about soulful brands. I want to know they have purpose. I want to know the intention behind everything. And I might go, I'm okay with it. It was all, I just want it as fast as it can be and as quick as it can be. I think what this is going to do is going to create a beautiful gap between practitioners like the four of us that are really working on these brands of differentiation through deeper value and purpose than the majority that are going to just use these tools to rapidly go and create slop.
So, Scott, from a practical way, then, how do we make sure that we utilize new technology, AI, but stay coherent?
I'll give you a really simple example that will paint a picture. I think there's other tools that are going to emerge. The simple tool, I heard you guys talk about, I was surprised, and I was actually quite delighted by you guys talking about, she asked, the interview asked you about Canva. And you had a really great response. You know, you guys are like pure, you guys are more come from design. I came from sales and leadership, and I finally moved towards design. And so for me, Canva was a blessing because I'm like, I didn't know how to, although I worked in Final Cut. So I've kind of got this, like, I'm an old school Final Cut. I don't use Descript. I'll still use it, but I use Canva. I think Canva is an example where you embed the brand guide, the brand guidelines, and it's embedded there. That's the operating system. I believe that's how people are going to interface with the world with these systems that are embedding that, so that so someone who's not really skilled can stay on brand.
Yeah, yeah, and that's something we brought into the service, but because we realized, like, if we don't ride with it, like, it's just going to destroy everything we've done. Do you know what I mean? So we've got to adapt to it.
I know, and I'm like, it drives me crazy. So here's what it's going to do, if I can rant for a second. It drives me crazy that it took me years to understand Final Cut, to do editing and color correcting. I make these films and these videos, and I cinematic, and then my daughter, she can make shit better than me, and she learned it in a weekend. It's just like, it's, so I think that some people are holding on to that skill. They're going, you have to earn it, you know what I mean? And it's like, I get it, because that's how I feel a little bit. So, you know.
All right, well, we're gonna move. Martin, you got one more? We're gonna.
No, mate. So
Okay.
I'm looking for the West section.
So this is the fun bit now, Scott. This is the bit you're gonna love. So I always kind of like to lighten the mode. Like, before we leave, we've got about 10 minutes left.
Okay.
So I like to dig into guilty pleasures. Like, where we're gonna go with that? What's Scott's guilty pleasure?
Oh, dude, my guiltiest pleasure is totally hammocks. I fucking love tapping out and being in a hammock, man. Like, I'm just like, I'll disappear like for hours. And when I was on my last trip, they didn't have a hammock, but I sat for almost an entire day just watching the seagulls and the patterns of the otters and the eagles hunting. For me, it's like I have this guilty pleasure of just total tap out.
I love it. Does that DNA come from, like, your journey from Hawaii to Canada then? Like, what's
the journey from being like, I was a single parent and juggling lots of stuff, and I needed some space to clear my head.
Totally.
I'm not sure, but I love that. To me, it's like, you know, when you guys do, like, I feel like thinking time is something people don't do. I think everybody should schedule thinking time. And it started with me just doing thinking time, a scheduled time every Sunday where I would think about the biggest problems and really think further ahead on behalf of my clients or my goals that I want to do. And I learned this through Tony Robbins. Keith Cunningham is the one called thinking time. And so it expanded from that, me doing an hour, to going, man, what would it be like if I spent half of the day doing this? And that's what's really helped me with book writing. It's clear. It's the idea of just like thinking about those concepts. And that's why I have a real problem with AI. They're not embodied. The difference between, I'm sure two people could write very prolific things, but the person who pondered it, embodied it, gave it texture is a little different, because the incoherence is, if I'm going to go and coach you on it and I didn't actually produce that, is very different when it shows up. And so for me, I've been going in the opposite direction, heavy on that. And I find it very rewarding.
Scott, like, it's such an interesting concept. And it's a difficult concept, right? We are overstimulated. We have this constant demand of adrenaline and dopamine and endorphin for this fucking shitty content and TikTok and stuff. Like, we are all into the game. We're all sucked so deep into it, and you're also a parent. So I wanna understand how did you get to that place of allowing yourself just to soak it in and tap out, and how do you go about it with the younger generation, and like how could we also be managed to get to that position as well, because it's so hard, there's so much stimuli around us.
You know, I have the exact process. If you guys Google Tony Robbins, he does a thing called priming. And so what it is he uses this breathing exercise where you're breathing, and then you go into a state and being gratitude, and you think of 3 things that you're grateful for. Then you spend some time and you actually sort of bring in sort of like energetic, whatever you believe to be where you get energy, nature, God, whatever. And then you sort of send energy to other people and yourself, healing energy. And then you think about 3 things that your goals are for. And I used that for years. And I got to tell you, it's a game changer for how I went from, quite honestly, like, kind of doing okay to being financially free. And it's a major pillar of that, because gratitude, starting with gratitude in this state of silence. It's like you guys said, you guys have fun. And I didn't mention anything, but I'll tell you why that's important. When you guys work with clients the way you said you did, I think it matters more. When you show up with the fun, what is that? It's a highest level of frequency of energy. When you produce brands and solutions at that energy, it's incredible. But the level above that is gratitude. No, you can never be grateful and angry at the same time. It's impossible. So I would challenge you to go, it's a state of gratitude where you can really lean into creating fantastic creative, and more important, this coherence with yourself.
Love it.
So back to the fun question. The one that happens.
Sorry, Wes.
Pretty much every session. So come on. You've clearly got like a music background. You've referenced music. You've referenced DJs. I've spoke to you, so I know this. But come on, what's your song that you sing in the shower? What's your ballad? What do you belt out?
Oh, what's the song I sing in the shower?
Come on, man.
I don't actually have one. I literally don't. Like, I'm trying to think, what would I normally like?
What's the tune that you bang out in the car?
Yeah.
Oh, which one would I normally like play or whatever? Like my go-to? Oh, yeah. It's a song called "Misery" from Metallica. Oh, and it's and I love the story. It's like, because it's called "Misery Loves Company." And me and my friend Jamie, he was one of my friends who went to Hawaii with me. We traveled the world together. We would be surfing and doing stuff, and we'd say "misery," and it just became this thing where it's like everyone else is like at home making money and working, going to university, and we're out here surfing. And so we love company. And so it just became an inside joke. So "Misery" is probably the one song I play all the time. It just sets me off.
You tried singing that in the shower?
Misery, yeah. I think so, yeah. There's more to life than what you see, yeah.
Yeah, go, bro. Turn it into a rap.
99% of people that we ask this question to, they don't actually sing in the shower.
Yeah.
No, come on. It's not that. Come
on, man. Roger Martin told us
in the shower. Did he?
Yeah, Roger Martin sang in the shower, and he told us his love for Reggie. It was
it's Bob Marley. He was singing Bob Marley. Like, I can imagine Roger Martin thinking about strategizing and then going into the shower, singing "Don't worry about a thing."
You got some fans in the chat though, like Misery's popping.
Yeah.
It's an unknown track on that album. Most people don't know it. Like, the other one is the "Follow the God That Failed" or whatever. Those 2 tracks are epic. Yeah.
Emily's got an amazing dog, by the way. I'm just letting you know, a bit of a fun fact.
Shout out to Emily's dog.
Emily's dog.
Also, Mark gave us a new updated question. Yeah, exactly. He gave us an updated version of this question. What do you sing in the hammock?
Which again, never happened.
You know what I actually listen to in the hammock? I will listen to music, but it's a couple songs, and it's like there's one that's a Hawaiian song called Ho'opono, and I play it on repeat because it's almost hypnotic. Or Om. There's this version of Om that's really powerful, and I'll just play that, and I just like lose track. I don't like listening to a song because then I'm thinking about the song. I like something that maybe kind of gets me in a state. So sometimes when I'm writing my best writing, I'll play a song that I like. Like right now, I've got I can't remember the name of it, but it's like a really upbeat song, and I just hit repeat because it doesn't sing too much, and it really just gets me in the zone. I just hit repeat.
Scott, that's a good segue into your book, your writing. So your original book, was that your first book, The Groundswell?
That was my first book, yeah.
Yeah. You're giving that away free. We talked about this off air.
What was that?
You're giving the chapters away for free, or have I just...
Well, yeah, my book, My Groundswell, you go to groundswellfreechapter.com, and you can get 50 pages of it right now. Yeah.
Few. I just thought I just lost
a
your
little plug in there. Yeah. You know, here's I got to tell you a little funny about a quick little thing is brand coherence actually wasn't my next book. I did it because I felt with AI just last 6 months, I was like, I got to write this book now because it's now. The book I'm almost finished, but I've just shelved for now. Is called Title Shift. And it's about this huge shift, which I mentioned, was leaving the age of attention and we're moving into this age of trust, which is brought on by intention. And that's actually the premise of the book is it used to be know, like, trust. If you browbeat me consistently, I'm going to know you. Then over time, I'm going to like you and I'm going to trust you. I think it's flipping. You have to demonstrate trust first. That's coherence. Showing up and showing your mastery. It's trust, like, no.
Yeah, trust. You start liking people that you trust, right?
Right. It's no longer, I'm like influencers, like, oh, because we know why? Because we want to know their intention. Because, oh, you're getting paid to recommend this to me. I want to know that you're doing it because you really love it. That's intention. That's why we no longer care about the attention. It's more intention.
Mm-hmm. Great. There's been some great answers here. Like, honestly, it's been a great conversation.
Yes, but we still have 9 minutes, isn't it?
Yeah, man. You're gonna starve it.
No, but
I wanna suck him. I wanna suck him dry.
I'll keep going as long as you guys want to record. I'll keep riding, you guys. So
I wanna suck him dry. I wanna suck him dry. It's Friday. I don't give a shit.
Mine. Why that? Hold that.
Oh my God.
You said that live.
I tell my parents to watch this now. You know.
Yeah, you just said that live, brother. I'm just.
It doesn't. No one is watching the water cooler because of polite language, isn't it? So, or correct spelling, because me and Wes are both dyslexic and we're managing the chat, and I'm like, what the fuck am I sending on the chat? Anyway,
hey, that seems consistent. It seems coherent.
Authenticity 101 right there.
I have a question from Anna Pia, and she said this is a great point regarding customer experience. What is your view on brand loyalty today and the use of AI? Even with coherence, how can companies stay up to date while managing the pressure of time and cost efficiency? And I want to make everyone aware I did not even make one reading mistake in here.
Can we put that on the screen?
So it sounds like there's two things in there, but okay, it says here, point regarding customer. What is your view on brand loyalty? I'll stop right there real quick. Mm-hmm. I believe brand loyalty is dead. This is going to be controversial, so buckle up. So think of get, grow, keep, right? What customer wants to be gotten? You can't capture a customer. And by the way, the word customer, they're not humans. They don't want to be, they're not cattle, for fuck's sakes, right? Loyalty, back in the day, it made sense because you're using things to create engender loyalty. I think that ship has sailed. It's coherence about transformation. Here's why. Transformation, when you transform the experience that I have, I will remain loyal and I will tell other people. That's where the growth loop happens. You have to transform my like what I'm doing, whether I'm drinking a Pepsi or driving a Porsche or whatever. It's like the transformation and connection that happens there. So community is about that connection, but it's no longer loyalty. Are we loyal to brands? Not anymore. You might say, so people go, the fan, right? Like when people go, oh, what about fans? They're loyal. I go, is that true? I think fans are a fallacy. Here's why. This is very controversial as well. When people go, you got to be like create raving fans. Raving fans, what are they? It's like a blind cult. Is that what you're going to be able to replicate for a brand as a blind cult? Like I know the Toronto Maple Leafs, they've never won ever, but they have raving fans. And when people use that as an example for branding, I think they're misleading, unfortunately, leaders. It's about creating transformation. If you guide a company about creating experiences that transform their lives, this is why this is going to be one of the most important books to anyone to read. Anyone that'll listen, this will change your life. The transformation economy is here. If you know how to transform, it's about human flourishing. You will create loyalty because not only loyalty, you'll create people are going to be compelled to tell other people. You don't need to market anymore. I believe I'm in marketing. I think marketing is a waste of money. It's like that quote, advertising and marketing is tax you pay for being unremarkable. So the goal for loyalty is be remarkable.
Boom, boom, boom. Also, go and build raging fans for the average B2B brand.
Yeah, definitely. There's love happening in the chat though. 2 people are going to make books. Like I can see it.
Oh, good.
Emily and Joe.
Yeah, there was a question actually from Emily, the parent of the dog called Arto, and she was saying, cool. How do you get the chance to sit down and write? I have a book on the side to write for years. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
you know, I can tell you what not to do. First, my first book, it took me 2 years, and I had my manuscript. I was so proud of it. And then I gave it to my editors, and they go, Scott, you wrote a textbook for brand strategists. Do you want to impact, founders? You got to rewrite this thing. I was so gutted, and I rewrote it, and then I gave it to Jay Bear. I don't know if you know Jay Bear, and he gave it back to me, and he goes, Scott, there's some good stuff in here, but it's not coherent. Literally, like he's going, you got to organize it differently and stuff. So it took me 4 fucking years. I can tell you what not to do. What I can tell you now, what I've learned differently is what I've done is I don't make it into every morning. And if I have a thought, I write notes, and those notes are either a chapter or whatever. And what I've done is I got all these little modules, and I start forming them. And so what I did was I took 5 weeks off, and I basically had chop wood and carry water. I just had a fireplace. I had just myself writing my book, and it was on the ocean. Most people can't do that. But what I've been doing is every morning, I believe your best time is to get up and write. Get it out of you no matter what, just write. And I tend to do 15 minutes. I end up doing 45.
Brilliant.
Love that. Shall we?
Mic drop right there.
It's hard. It's hard writing a book. I know, guys, and you got all these other distractions. It's so hard. If you try to just do it for the day, it won't work.
Yeah. So, Scott, should I?
Go on.
Oh, we have the favorite part of the show, the one that Ash particularly loves about it, which is, do you have a question for us?
Yeah,
I do.
What do you want to ask us?
I actually do. So my question for you guys is, how do you coherently create a direction when you're working with clients, when there's 3 points of view? How do you take a brave lead? Because I know when it's myself or I'm working with just the founder, it's more narrow focus. And you guys are doing collaborative with employees, and you got 3 of you, those variables. I'm blown away. I'm curious, so curious. How do you guys create a process that delivers the value you guys are creating when you got those 2 variables?
The coherent part for me, I think, is why we do it. And so the reason why, what we identified early in working together was us challenging each other. We were always coherent about that, so it was always about the customer rather than our own kind of views. And so if I got challenged by Wes or Martin about my thinking, I knew it came from a good place, and I knew why it happened. It was not because they liked the idea or didn't like the idea. It was because objectively they looked at it and thought, this is not right for the customer and where they're going. I think that's our biggest litmus test.
But another layer on that, though, is we do it in real time. So we're not afraid to do this in front of a room of 20, 50 people. We've done it.
Interesting. So you guys debate in real time in front of the client. Yeah. That's actually showing your mastery. Yeah, 100%. Remember we talked before? That's actually really cool.
Yeah. So we've literally done it, and we don't squabble. We're actually like brothers. It's not but we will literally challenge. There's been cases numerous.
That's brave.
Actually, really works. And we'll challenge it in real time. Do you know what I mean?
There are a few times I did tell you stop fucking bickering and get done with the program.
It is normally me and Ash, by the way, and it's normally me and Ash because Ash fucks shit up and I just bollock him.
No, but it's true. Like Scott, in those high stakes situations where you're in a room with 20, 30 people, which are the representation of the highest level of this global organization, and we go on with this true, unbullshitted, unfiltered kind of approach. For them, it's so refreshing, and it's a collaborative process because we show authenticity and trust, and also we know we have the process, but we also know there are hiccups, and we try to figure it out. Our motto is always we know what we know, and what we don't know, we're gonna figure it out, and we bring that to the table so everyone feels empowered to talk. Because all of a sudden there is no more hierarchy, because we come there and we smash the hierarchy by showing them that is not really about that. It's about really talking about it. And there are situations where some of the pieces of this journey with Wes, it took fucking days. It would have been better for us to just go on that and say, okay, let's do it, tick the box, move to the next. It was days. And we had headaches, and we were taking pills and caffeine and stuff. And I was like, oh my God, this is not getting anywhere. We were never going to get there, but we always get there. Yeah. It's an amazing journey. And I love it. But it's
non-hallucinating pills, by the way.
No.
Not that time.
No.
Can I project a little bit? Because it sounds like you guys were DJing and trying to create coherence.
There's always
for the client, right? And there's another thing that I think that comes up when you do that. When you're in your mastery in real time, you guys there's a tension, right? That's where you guys get into flow state, where you get out of your logic mind, and you guys are probably working as a collective. You've heard the mastermind from, Think and Grow Rich, right? The collective mind. There's an energy that's created when you guys probably do that together. That combination is what's your superpower. I would argue that's my projection of what that is.
I think the most ironic thing is, though, Martin, the most ironic thing is that no one will really understand is that below this undercurrent, this beat, let's go to analogy, there is so much structure and process and timekeeping behind that fucking scene that the room would never know it's happening. But there's a ringmaster in there constantly, like normally me just pushing it. Okay, we need to move it on. But we're taking them on this journey, and I don't think the client ever realizes that's happening because that we're constantly evolving.
I believe that it's structure. I view this. Coherence creates from structure, system, strategy. So you guys all know models, right? Like a brand archetype or elements of value or value proposition design. Those are your structure, but the client doesn't need to know that detail. No. You're just knowing that together, and you guys are delivering it. They just go, it's coherent, but you go, yeah, I know motivation was perceived value minus perceived cost, and you guys are working it. That's I think that you're.
And coincidentally, that's how it started. Like we had this great idea to do our first ever workshop together. I think we'd bastardized a deck that we kind of all knew. We were meant to run through it the night before, so we'd never done it as a session. So we're going to lock it into a room, put the projector on, run through it. Truth is,
DJing has modules, they're structures, and to the listener, it seems like flow, it's freeform. But then I realized that was built on structure. Yeah. Then he created a system. These beats go together, that system, and the strategy was reading the room. That's exactly what you guys did.
But to finish that story, the reality was we got to the pub, we got absolutely shit-faced. We didn't fucking go home and do a thing. We woke up in the morning. We were like, fuck, we now got to land this workshop that we've sold. There's 3 of us are going to do this seamlessly. We're to the outside world, we're seamless. So what we just decided to do is just deliver the bits, and we just pass it on, right? So we just deliver our own modules that we're comfortable with. And literally that process and that structure has never changed since. It's literally gone because we know it works. You know what I mean?
Right. And also I'd say between the 3 of you, it wouldn't work, that process, for someone to replicate unless there's deep trust. Yeah. My hallucination in this moment is you guys have deep trust where you guys, it's like a team, that you got my back. And so I think that's why it works really well.
Yeah. And there's a true story, in rooms, we'll be we'll text, we use WhatsApp, we use a back channel quite a lot, which is interesting. And you've probably seen us all chatting in the water cooler because that's how we do this back channel. But we always sit, in a room, we'll be like, fuck, I need help. I need you to fucking dig me out here. And someone will come in and then we'll take over because it's just a battering sometimes. You're getting, you've got a 30-man room and they're challenging you constantly. And it's normally me with purpose. That purpose session can go from 2 to 3 to 5 hours sometimes.
Totally. That's why those in-person ones are so challenging.
And you're trying to push it, and I'll be like, mate, I need to tag out here because I'm fucked. You need to carry on, But yeah, I love you asking that. We've never really we've been asked a few times about it, but never really asked to that level of detail. And I don't think we've ever told anyone that kind of.
When we were in the pre-room, you asked me if I wanted to share that process, the collaborative process. Do you want me to share that still?
Yeah, because this is a dime. Honestly, there's been some booms today, but this is boom.
So what happened? This process was created out of frustration and total failure. So I was doing this collaborative thing where I had the whole staff there, right? And I'm doing my whiteboard. I'm doing the, all the modules that we all do in branding, right? But in the back room was the CFO. He's the decision maker, right? And anyways, but he was on his phone. He was really, you get that, sometimes that someone's half in. And then at the end of the process, when I've already delivered the final work, this took a lot of time, as you guys know, when you finally get the feedback, you consolidate it and present it, right? What did he do? He goes, this is wrong. You don't actually understand. And I had nowhere to go because I'm like, well, he's the CFO, A, decision maker, and B, I couldn't refute that there was a level of truth that I hadn't uncovered. So then I basically, so I had to go back and start over again. And I came up with this exercise I called the truth exercise. So the truth exercise is basically this. is you put on the board, and so this anyone could do this. This is the easiest exercise to execute on. Is the truth exercise is you start with the truth is our customers love X, and you just get everybody. And what your goal is you what I preface is going anybody in the room. If you don't, it's like if you don't pipe up now, forever hold your peace. So this was my way of going to the CFO, going you got to give me the feedback, or pardon my French, fuck off, right? So what I said was like, what do we love? So that's where you start, and then go, what do our customers hate? Now those become pretty obvious. The juice comes in when you start going granular. What are our customers slightly annoyed by? It's about friction. What do our customers wish that we did? And you start uncovering these ideas, right? So anyway, so I'm doing this exercise. I'm like, this is gold, right? But there's this guy in the back who never said anything. He's this big burly guy. It was a dealership, and it's like motorsports. Like we're talking like, he's this big beard, chainsaw yielding dude, and said nothing. You could tell he didn't even give a shit, right? Anyways, he pipes up and he goes, I said, what do our customers wish that we knew that they loved? And he goes, bacon. I'm like, what? And everyone laughed. And I'm like, no, let's keep it, right? It didn't show up in the brand guide. But what it did is later on, I realized that we were doing a promotion to try to get their user-generated content in the backcountry snowmobiling in the mountains. And we wanted to get these pictures because they're wrapping our sleds in our brand. But it costs us like a lot of money to film it, but they are already filming. So I was trying to incentivize them with big prizing to then share on social media. And we had big prizing, all the stuff that we'd all do, and it didn't work. It failed. Then what I did was I thought of this bacon idea, and I started tagging their pictures, and I gave them bacon awards. I go 3 strips of bacon or 5. It blew up. Why? Because it was part of being a tribe that only that tribe understood this resonance of bacon, the smell of like 2-stroke. Like we literally were looking for creating cologne that smelled like 2-stroke engine and cedar and bacon, because that's what resonated with this group. So that's to unearth this resonance, this coherence that only that tribe understands. And that's when I realized this truth exercise is a powerful way to get all the truth from everybody, and nobody can say we didn't understand the brand.
Boom. So good.
You heard it here. So take that, please, and use it.
And it reminds me that a lot of the brand building, it's about archaeology, right? Just digging good enough to find those nuggets, put them on the side, and knowing exactly when to use those nuggets. Like such a good story, Scott. You're a wonderful storyteller. I need to get on your book.
Well, you know what I'd like to offer all 3 of you is I'd like to have all 3 of you on my podcast individually.
I told you, boys.
Individually, let's get on the podcast and do a deep dive. Like you said, I want to dig deep into each of, because you guys have really impressed me. I mean, I'll be honest, like I feel honored to be on this show. So thank you.
Thanks, man.
I'll send you the invoice after, Scott. Thank you.
Yeah, but we should get us all on, Scott. I think we're a good little.
I would do a group one, no problem. But I think it would really also good. I would do a group one, and let's do an individual. Like I would do that many episodes. I'd love to do.
We'll do whatever you think is the best, mate. This was amazing, and thank you so much for also giving us some extra time. The chat was on fire. Yes, this will be recorded. It's hosted on YouTube, isn't it, Ash? Where it's living?
Yeah, YouTube, and it'll stay on the LinkedIn as well. So
so it's there.
One final thing as well, because it's an important question. This is for Martin.
Oh, Emily, I just moved into this office today, so this is not even my permanent setup. But now that you like it, this is gonna be my permanent setup. You made my day. I struggled so much because we moved offices today. My day was a bit of a shit show. Thank you.
Scott, honestly, so good. Where can everyone follow you? You active on LinkedIn mainly?
Yeah, I would. The place I like to connect with people is LinkedIn. So Adam Martin or Scott A. Martin is how you can find me anywhere. Groundswell.tv if you want to find me on YouTube, and groundswellpodcast.com if you want my podcast. And every Friday I do a live show, Rip Currents. And you guys, anytime you want to jump on that show, it's all about what's happened in the week. So you guys anytime you want to go live on a Friday with me, you're happy to have you on my show.
Oh, okay.
Thank you, buddy. You're a fucking legend, Scott. Have a great weekend, mate.
Thank you. Take care.
I appreciate you coming, man. Appreciate you.
See you next time.
Wow.
Oh my God. So good.
I told you this guy was G.
I'm full of notes.
Yeah. I mean, I love every show, but this one, like the answers were just so spot on. And what's weird is because, like, I don't know him as well as you do, Wes. I thought there was going to be some areas with regards to AI that I'm going to be challenged in terms of what he was saying and what he was talking about, and I want great answers as well. And then I was aligned with him. Like, you cannot disagree with everything there.
Anyway, I've got some shouts today. Like, I think the chat deserves it. Like, honestly, it's been on. Like, I'm going to go down them. Nicholas, Joseph, who I've been mentoring, Marcelo, Leslie Short is in the house, like a returning guest. Rachel, Davis, Mark, Emily, Arto's in now, Winifred, Ian McEwen, and the one and only Mr. Back to Future Mark Toulouse. I mean, what a wham bam, thank you, ma'am. We've had.
Oh my god, that was such a good Friday, guys. I need to go because I had 2 beers and I cannot hold them any longer. So have a lovely weekend, everyone. I'll see you not next Friday, the one after.
See you in 2 weeks.